So, this is quite a risky video for me to make, considering that SpooknJukes is 100 times my size. But, you know, if someone says something that I disagree with, I don't care how big or small you are, I want to talk about it. And of course, I have to make this disclaimer because people are really stupid. I don't have an issue with SpooknJukes. Just because I disagree with something doesn't mean I don't like him. I think he's a good content creator. We actually go back like really far. I went to middle school with him. If you're a regular here, then you should know how I feel about Distortion. I already made a video on this. Not a big fan. I don't like stealth gameplay. And SpooknJukes made a video talking about Distortion and his thoughts, and I completely wholeheartedly disagree, and I figured we'd watch the video together. Now I don't think SpooknJukes is like this, but just in case he is, I'm going to put gameplay, like my own gameplay of DBD, and you're just going to hear the audio from his video over my gameplay, because I don't want to risk making a video and then he strikes it down. But I don't really imagine him being the type to do that, but you know, you never know, so I just got to be safe.
Sorry, I'm gonna go on another potential rant here. It's another DBD Twitter thing. Why is everybody freaking out about A, Distortion, and B, stealth players? Why the fuck are people mad that people play stealthy? Where it's boring. Bitch, it's a 4v1 asymmetrical horror game. You're telling me there can't be stealth in a horror game where your objective is to hide and run from a killer, and you don't want fucking stealth? Get over yourself, you absolute fucking doofuses. God, every time I see someone bitching about Distortion or stealth players, I'm like, what game do you think this is? You don't want stealth in an asymmetrical horror game where your whole objective is to evade, escape, and hide from the killer, but no stealth.
Now this is a little nitpicky, I will admit, but I do think it's worth bringing up. Hiding is not the objective of DBD. To me, it's more like a sub-objective. Your objective really is to just do gens and get out, and in the process, the killer will interrupt you, so you have to loop and waste as much time as you possibly can. But hiding is not something that I think is like an objective, because if you're hiding, you're not really doing anything. Although I will admit there are moments where stealthing is appropriate. Like, let's just say you're going for a hook save or pallet or flashlight save. I think those 10 seconds of laying low to set up for something is totally fine. If there's a nasty 3-gen that needs to get broken up, I think it's fine to do the gen, hear the terror radius, hide, let him kick the gen, run away, and repeat. You don't want to give him a free hit. So I think in that moment, stealthing is good. And more importantly, if you're getting tunneled early game, then I think stealthing is really good. You want to lay low, because if you're out of the game early, then that's an automatic loss. I think there are moments where stealthing is important, but in terms of like the amount of time that you're spending doing stuff, I think gens should be number 1, chase or chasing, honestly, either one's fine, and stealthing should be number 3. Stealthing should not be number 2, and it definitely shouldn't be number 1. Like, that should not be your number 1 most time spent doing whatever it is on DBD. Like, you should really not spend that much time stealthing, because you're kind of ruining it for your team when you do that.
So they're complaining about stealth people because they don't take chase. Well, guess what? Some people aren't as good in chase. Some people's best strategy is to not take chase. You want the players who are good in chase, you want those people to take chase. If people know that they're better off being stealthy and hiding because it wastes the killer's time, then that is 1,000,000% valid, and that's what you should do.
I don't like the idea that, oh, if you're hiding, you're wasting the killer's time. In reality, what they're going to do is, if they don't see you, they're just going to go after someone else. And they could potentially go after someone who's maybe on death hook, or, you know, about to die sooner. Like, whatever the case may be, somebody else can get out of the game sooner because you're just hiding. You're not taking aggro. And that could be the difference between a win or a loss. Like, you should want inexperienced players to loop, or at least, like, have some sort of, like, courage to loop. Like, yeah, it's going to suck. You're going to go down. But the more you wait, the more you're not going to be good at the game. Like, you should want to learn how to loop, and that doesn't necessarily mean throwing yourself at the killer. I'm not saying like literally take a hit and run right into the killer's face. It's just more so, instead of hiding, like instead of, okay, I hear the killer coming, I hear the terror radius, instead of hiding behind a rock, you know, run away, run to a structure, run to a pallet, run to a window, like let the killer see you and just learn. You like, it's not, I'm not asking you to be like Team Eternal levels of looping, but just learn the basics. A big part of stealth gameplay is laying low to do gens and going for saves when it's safe. But that's like the easiest part of DBD. It really doesn't take that much thought process to do these things. Like, it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can still play stealthy while also being average at chase, and the only way you'll get there is by learning. And I don't like seeing videos of people that you're basically coddling to these players that just don't want to get better. Like, no, it's okay. You don't have to get good at chase. You don't have to do any of these things. You can keep on hiding. It's like, why would you encourage that? You know, it's fine if you think that. I have no problem with you thinking that. But once you start going on forums or DBD Twitter or making videos basically telling people and coddling to them, like, guys, it's okay. You can just hide. It's totally fine. It's valid. It's like, no, you're making people feel more comfortable about being bad when you should encourage them to be good. Don't tell them it's okay to not take chase and you should hide. Like, you shouldn't hide. You should break out of that shit. You know, that's what you do when you're new at the game. Like, you should want to get past that. You should want to be better. That's all I want. I just want players to be better. I'm not like so much like shaming you, like, how dare you be bad. It's just like, you should want to learn how to be a little bit better at chase.
Why would you want players who aren't confident in chase getting in chase? They're going to go down in less than 30 seconds and they're going to die very quickly, and then you won't have a teammate on gens. So why not have stealthy players wasting the killer's time because they can't find them, and then when the killer gives up, they do gens? What is wrong with that? I would love to have those teammates. Are you kidding me? Would you rather those players get fucking chased when they don't want to be and then they go down right away because they're not that great in chase? No, let them hide. Let them be stealthy if that's what they're good at.
And again, the whole let the survivor waste the killer's time by hiding. This logic only really applies to killers that are playing nice and they're one-hooking everyone. Like, killers aren't going to do this thing where it's like, all right, well, let me look in the locker. Oh, you're not here. Okay, let me look behind a rock. Oh, you're not here. Okay, let me look in the perimeters of the map. Maybe I'll find you there. Like, no, they're not going to waste their time looking for you. The killer's time is very valuable. I mean, it makes sense. There's 4 survivors and 1 killer, so each second counts, and they're not going to sit around and play hide and seek with you. And truly, there are ways you can get better at this game that don't require you to be a god. Like, you can take off distortion and put windows of opportunity, so when you get chased, you're more likely to know where to go. There's also certain maps that, you know, main is really hard to deal with, like Groaning Storehouse. You can run there. The killer will probably leave you if you run there because they hate looping in main because it's frustrating for them. Or Garden of Joy main is really, that window is still busted even though they reworked the map, and it's still pretty bad. You can also learn how to hold your check spots, which surprisingly isn't that hard to do. You can run to shack if you really need to. Like, you know, there are places where you can learn to take the killer. You can also, you know, mind game a little more, pretend you're gonna drop the pallet, but not really. Like, there are things, like, it's really not rocket science to get good at being decent at chase, and it should be encouraged. You can still do your stealthy gameplay that you like to do if you just like doing gens behind the scene, while also having access of knowing how to loop. Like, it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can do whatever you like to do behind the scenes while still knowing or having some sort of knowledge of how to loop. Like, that sort of gameplay should be encouraged 100%. And in some cases, playing stealthy is really bad. Let's just say, and you know, this is not uncommon, Distortion is a common perk, and Save the Best for Last is also a common perk. Now, the way Save the Best for Last works is you get really, you know, low cooldowns on your attacks, so you can catch up to the survivor really fast. The only way you lose your stacks is if you hit the obsession. What if you're the obsession and you're a stealthy player and you're hiding for the majority of the game? You're indirectly helping the killer by not taking aggro at all. Stealthy survivors and Save the Best for Last users go hand in hand, and because you refuse to take aggro when you're the obsession, all of your other teammates that are taking aggro, that are getting chased, their chases are going to be a lot shorter because you're just not helping. You're not reducing. You're not playing your role as the obsession and reducing his stacks. You're just hiding, giving free reign to the killer to do whatever they want to end the chase as quickly as possible, and chances are that game is over. And all you have to do is just take a couple hits every now and then just to give your team a chance of surviving. And even if it's an M2 killer bringing save the best for last, you can still take hits when the killer's carrying a survivor to a hook, because they have to M1 you. There are things you can do to help out your team other than hiding. And another thing I see, and this one drives me crazy because this happens a lot. You'll have, let's just say I get hooked, right? I'm on a hook, I just got hooked. 5 seconds later, someone will come and unhook me, which is fine. But then the killer will come back, and instead of taking aggro, they'll hide. And when the killer comes back, all they see is me, the injured person, running away. Then I get downed again, and I hit second hook, or I'm dead. And that person is just still hiding. That annoys me beyond anything. But that's what happens when you encourage stealth gameplay. You don't learn when to take action. Like, because hiding is your biggest priority, you don't know when, and you don't learn how to take action. And that's why I don't like encouraging that, oh, well, just hide. It's okay. You can hide. I don't like encouraging that behavior because then I get teammates like that, and it just drives me nuts.
The reason Distortion is so hot is because there's so many killers running nowhere to hide, and Darkness Revealed, or Barbecue and Chili, or Floods of Rage. Like, there's a lot of really good killer aura perks. But God forbid survivors run a perk that counters it. What an absolute ridiculous thing to complain about. I'm mad that this survivor is using a perk that counters my perk. Only my perk should be valid, not their perk.
This is something that I 100% agree with, without a doubt. If you're a killer who complains about Distortion, there is something wrong with you. There is something going on inside of your head. Distortion is not bad. If you complain about it, then you're probably not good at the game. Because like I said, the alternative is simply just chasing the people that you can see, that you can find. And if your whole lobby's running Distortion, then oh well. And it's annoying because, and I have a feeling I'm going to get these same comments because in my other video, people got the impression that, oh, I'm a killer who hates Distortion. No, I'm a survivor who hates a teammate running Distortion. Because more often than not, these people are not taking aggro. These people are not being a team player. They're not being helpful. They're not really doing anything. And I'd like to show you a clip of my average experience with a Distortion teammate.
Jane is stealthing in the corner. Go main, bro. Jane is literally in a corner. Stealth. She's crouching, bro.
I bet my life. I bet my fucking life this bitch has Distortion or Calm Spirit.
What's she doing?
She's kind of running towards. She's like not going for the save. She wants to. She's just so scared. Let me see, bro. Let me see these first, bro. Let me see these first. What I tell you, bro? What I tell you?
What's that?
Fucking Distortion, bro. What did I tell you? Oh my god, bro. And these are people that are giving me shit on YouTube. This is your average Distortion player. When are people gonna learn? They don't take aggro, they hide, and they let everyone else die, and they have no hooks.
Now before you write your, I run Distortion and I don't do any of these things comment, I don't care. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm specifically talking about is solo queue. Because in duos with comms or even a full 4-man Swift, I think Distortion's great. You can call out Lethal Pursuer, you can call out Barbecue, Nowhere to Hide, I'm All Ears, Floods of Rage, Blood Warden, or reading add-ons. Like, there's a lot you can do with Distortion in the right hands. I'm specifically talking about solo queue Distortion players, and this has been my experience. And before I go, there's one last thing that SpooknJukes says that I'm so sick and tired of people saying this. I'm gonna.
Just get over yourself, okay? Play the game the way you want to play the game and let other people play the game the way they want to play the game and just leave it at that.
I hate when people say this. This is just so lazy to me. I do agree only when it's single player games. If you're playing single player games, by all means, you can play however you want. You can mod it. I don't care. I really don't. But when you're playing team-based games, especially a game like Dead by Daylight, where survivors are at their strongest as a team, and you know, when teamwork is involved, and you have that one person that's like, well, let people play how they want. I paid for the game, so therefore it's like, okay, you know what, fine. You can do that. You can totally do that. You're an asshole. It's as simple as that. If you're not going to be a team player, if you're not going to help out your team in any way, you're an asshole. If the way you want to play is so important to you that you don't want to understand that, look, like, it's not just me playing, it's also my team playing, but the way you want to play is so important, fine. I think you're an asshole. I will always think you're an asshole. And that's it. That's all I got. Again, I don't hate SpooknJukes. I hate that I even have to say this, but you know, people will jump to that conclusion. So I don't hate him. I like his content. But this video that he made, I think is just so lazy. It's like, hey guys, this is why stealthing is cool. And then he just throws in a random Twitch clip of him already talking about it. And at the end, he's like, let people enjoy things. Like, it's such a lazy video. It's such a lazy response. And I don't like it. I really don't like it. But I do like SpooknJukes. Yeah, my socials are in the description. You follow me on Twitch at Adrian, and I promise you, 2060, I will be live. I swear to God, just give me some time. I will be live. You will see me there. I might be old, but I promise you, like, we're gonna have a good time. In the meantime, take off Distortion, put windows of opportunity, learn how to loop. You know, try to get better. That's all I'm gonna say. Just try. Just give it a shot. It's worth your while if you want to play this game long term. And yeah, bye.